Hey, what is going on, guys? It's DK back at you with another video here for the NBA main slate here on Tuesday. We got a smaller slate, only 4 games, so I'll probably just be sticking to GPPs. Real quick, let's see, though, how we did last night. So, probably the most frustrating night in DFS in a long time. So, if you guys are watching this video, you probably know what happened with the Sacramento Kings situation. So, going into the night, I knew the Kings were in a 3 games in 4 nights. But, their roster, they have no old guys. It's all young guys. And so I figured maybe there's a chance that the Kings, Dave Yeager, adds maybe another guy to the rotation or just limits the starters by a couple minutes or so. I wasn't too worried. The matchup was just so good where I wasn't really worried about the 3 and 4 nights considering everyone was so young as well. And then Dave Yeager goes out there and plays the starters a grand total of 6 minutes. And they do not play the rest of the game. So, it's already hard enough to profit in DFS. Like it is. It's very, very difficult. Not a lot of people can profit in daily fantasy sports. But when you just have a night like this where you just burn money down the drain because of a stupid coach like that, I was furious last night. I literally like injuries, like that pissing me off, but this was like worse. This was just like an idiotic coaching decision. Like they play 6 minutes to start. I couldn't believe my eyes. So that's enough of that. Final lineup was Derrick Rose, Devin Booker, Courtney Lee, Kevin Knox, Cantor, Fox, Bjelica, Nurkic. So my core plays were Rose, Booker, who was low owned, Cantor, and Nurkic, as well as Bjelica, but he was like 100% owned in cash. So, if you went with that core, you probably did good. Hopefully you avoided another King. But, I got suckered into Fox, and yeah, he got me 1 rebound and 1 turnover. So, and then the whole Hardaway got ruled out, so that's why I kind of pivoted to Kevin Knox and Courtney Lee there. But yeah, just like I said, it's already hard enough to profit in daily fantasy sports, and then I just, burn a bunch of money because of an idiotic coach. Frustrates me to no end, and I'm sure a lot of you guys got burned as well. It's just unexcusable from a coach, to be honest. But try to forget about it and move on to the slate. All right, so we got a decent 4-game slate. So let's look at the over-unders real quick, so you guys can see, the first game and the last game, pretty low over-unders, and the 2 games in the middle, 236 and 227, with tight spreads too. So those 2 games, definitely, you want to target those, in my opinion. So, again, so it's only 4 games. 4 games is kind of the cap for me. I'm probably still going to stick to GPPs. If it's a 5-game slate, then I'll do cash games. But with only 4 games, that's still a pretty small slate. So I think I'm going to only stick to GPPs and kind of take it light tonight. So let's start with point guard. And we got John Wall, who's priced up all the way now to 9.8K. But I think I think it's honestly, you can play John Wall today. The matchup against Atlanta you can't get a better matchup than this. And John Wall should, play 35-plus minutes in a close game. He's going to have Trae Young defense. He has all the upside in the world. So I know John Wall is overpriced, but he's definitely in consideration today for our spend up. You got Oladipo. So you got to kind of have to take a stand on some of these smaller slates. And for me, basically, just crossing off this game, I do like a couple of the Indiana bigs, but other than that, I'm kind of Xing out Cleveland and Indiana. So Oladipo, sure, the game stays close. Cleveland, not a good defensive team. I'm a little worried about the blowout. The over-under's lower. You got to take a stand. If you really like Oladipo, I'm not going to talk you off him, but I'm just taking a stand and basically crossing off this first game. Okay, so D'Angelo Russell, Spencer Dinwiddie here. The Nets are just frustrating as hell to target in DFS because no one plays more than 30 minutes. It's like, I wish these Nets starters would play like normal starters minutes and play like 35 minutes, but they just get limited to like 25 to 30 minutes every night. So D'Lo, he's got a revenge game, and we saw, look what he did against Atlanta, 56 fantasy points. So that that just boosts like John Wall. I mean, John Wall, he's going to play 35 minutes in a close game, so John Wall could easily exceed that. But D'Angelo Russell here, we got the revenge game narrative. It's just these Nets are so hard to trust, but I'm probably sticking to GPPs only, so I might take a shot in D'Angelo Russell. I'm a little undecided. If you're cash games, if you're going to play cash games tonight, I'd probably avoid a lot of the Nets situation because it's just no one is locked into minutes. Spencer Dinwiddie, I know he's been good the last few games, but that's just way too much for Spencer Dinwiddie. I would just rather pay the extra $500 for D'Angelo Russell, who has more upside. And then we kind of get into the mid-tier range where we got Jamal Murray. The over-under is low, but the price is really appealing for Jamal Murray. He's going to play basically the whole game. So I think Jamal Murray definitely in play here at 6.6K. Then we got Alonzo, who's priced up now to 6.5, where I think he's priced about right. He does still have upside. As you can see, a 60-point upside, but I think that was kind of more of an outlier. So I think Lonzo, I think he's okay today, but I don't think he's the best player in the world. And then we got Trae Young, who I just seem can never get right, but the Hawks, surprisingly, are starting to run like a normal rotation and play their starters some pretty decent minutes. A lot of the starters playing 30 to 35 minutes now. So Trae Young, he has as much upside as anyone on this slate, but he's so up and down where if you're playing cash games, just cross him out. But I'm doing GPPs only, so I'm considering Trae Young in such a high over-under. The only concern is Jeremy Lin is back. They kind of limited Lin a little bit, but if Trae Young's playing really bad, if his shot's not falling, they're only going to give him like 20, 25 minutes, and they'll give Jeremy Lin the rest. So that is the worry with Trae Young. If he's not playing well, they will limit his minutes. Clarkson, these Cavs are just running too deep a rotation right now, and the match against Indiana is terrible. Like I said, I'm just crossing off that game basically. I don't know if it's just me, but is Dennis Smith Jr. questionable every single night? I literally feel like he's been questionable the whole entire year. If he plays, I guess, but I don't really think he has enough upside for me to consider him. Collison, not with Oladipo back, and again, I'm just kind of crossing off that game. And then we got Monte Morris. So I've kind of been on this guy recently, and he's played 38 minutes against Toronto. I don't expect him to play 38 minutes again, but he's been playing some really good basketball. So I know the price is up, but I still think he can get you there. So Monte Morris, I think he's a pretty decent player, 4.7. And then we got Josh Hart, who some of the game log watchers will see his minutes and kind of stay away from, which I understand. Washington game was a blowout. Charlotte was a blowout as well. Then Houston, he got in foul trouble. So the 3 games before that, 36, 36, and 35 minutes. It is Luke Walton, though. We can never trust him. So I'd assume if this game stays close, Josh Hart plays, 35 minutes. But like I said, it's Luke Walton. It's hard to trust. So I don't think if you're playing cash games, I don't think you can do it. But GPPs, I think it's worth a shot. Satoransky played 46 minutes last game. That was a little absurd. Trevor Ariza is eligible to play and will start. So that's going to limit a lot of these Washington secondary pieces. I was kind of hoping Ariza would be out so we could lock in Jeff Green, Markieff Morris, some of these Washington guys. But now the rotation is a little bigger with Trevor Ariza there. So I don't think the Washington secondary pieces are as good of plays as they would have been if Ariza was out. Let's see. Brunson, maybe if DSJ's out, but I'm playing GPPs. I only want guys that have really big upside. Brunson, he's just more of a cash game play, so I'm kind of staying away from him there. So Jeremy Lin, last guy I'll talk about for point guards, 3.8K. So there is a shot, again, Trae Young plays bad. Jeremy Lin will play 20 to 25 minutes. And this guy has huge upside when he does get those minutes. So I think if you're making multiple lineups, I think it's worth a shot playing Jeremy Lin in one of those lineups. I think, like I said, if Trae Young's playing bad, they will give those minutes to Jeremy Lin. Okay. Shooting guard, we got a priced up Brad Beal as well, but they're in such a good spot where I think they're almost worth it. Like John Wall, Brad Beal, I know they are really priced up, but again, I'm considering both of them today. So we got Luka Doncic, who I really liked against Atlanta. I really liked against Sacramento. But other than that, this guy's just kind of like a safe cash game play. The match against Denver, not the best, so I think I will look elsewhere than Luka Doncic at 7.7. So Bazemore, again, these Hawks, they're starting to see the starters as consistent minutes. Bazemore, 33, 32, 29, 32. So in an up-tempo game against Washington, we see what he did last time against Washington, 35 minutes, 43 fantasy points. Bazemore, he's basically going to get you a few steals every night. He's starting to, fill up the stat sheet a little bit, which I do like. So I'm considering Kent Bazemore today at 6.3K. Let's see. These Nets is like Joe Harris. With Crab out, maybe, but it's just the Nets minutes are so hard to trust. And does Joe Harris really have that much upside at 4.9K? Probably not. Let's see, KCP. So I wouldn't go crazy and chase this 44 fantasy point game. He was just shooting lights out. Outliers in assists and rebounds too. KCP's normally just a scoring dependent guy. So I wouldn't chase this 44 fantasy point game. The game stays close, so play 20 to 22 minutes would be my guess and get you like 15 to 20 fantasy points. So I'm not chasing KCP today. Kevin Huerter, if you're playing cash games, maybe. Some people will get scared away by that 7 fantasy point game, but he should be locked in some good minutes, and he should get you 20 to 25 fantasy points. So I think he's okay for cash games. Lance Stevenson, so the Houston game, Josh Hart got in foul trouble, and these 2 games were blowouts. So I wouldn't go crazy on Lance. I love playing Lance Stevenson. This guy's always aggressive. He fills up the stat sheet. But I think he's going to get limited again to like 15 or so minutes. Yeah, it's just tough. If the game blows out, then Lance will get some more minutes, but I don't know if I can do Lance. Then we've got David Nwaba. I just thought I'd bring him up because I saw there's a report that he might start over Alec Burks. But again, that Cavs rotation is so deep. The matchup's not the best, but 3.5K, he doesn't have to do much to get you there. So I guess I would consider David Nwaba, but I really just kind of want to cross off that first game. Small forward, okay. So if you're playing cash games today, I think you basically got to lock in LeBron James. He says the highest floor out of everyone. I know I played him, of course, in the game against Washington, and he gets 25 fantasy points. I seem to never to get this guy right. When I play him, he'll go on stretches where he will just defer a lot to everyone. And then there's other games where he just takes over. So LeBron, a little, hard to trust, but he does have a high floor most of the time. So I think if you're playing cash games, I think you got to lock in LeBron. But again, I'm doing GPPs, so I'm considering a LeBron fade. I'm kind of undecided right now. I do really like the Washington-Atlanta game, so I'm a little undecided on if I want to put LeBron James in my GPP lineup. Then Kuzma, price came down a little bit to 7.5, where he's going to get you like 35 to 40 fantasy points most nights. So I think Kuzma, pretty good for cash games. GPPs, I don't know if I would play Kuzma. I don't know if he has huge like 50-point upside. Thad Young, I wouldn't go crazy and chase that. He kind of came back to earth after a couple of just insane games. Thad Young's like a 15 to 25 fantasy point player. So again, he's priced up to 6.2K. I am definitely staying away from Thad Young. So these secondary pieces for Washington, you got Jeff Green, Markieff Morris. It's kind of tough because Ariza is into the rotation as well. So where is Washington? So we got Ariza in the rotation at 4.6K. He is going to pick up the start. So considering they're starting him, I assume he's going to play a lot of minutes. So Ariza, I think, is pretty okay. He is kind of just like a stand in the corner, shoot threes guy, but the matchup is so good where I think you could consider Ariza. Then you got Jeff Green, Markieff Morris. I think I'd rather just prefer to play Markieff Morris. I know he's burned me so many times, but he seems to have more upside. And Sam Decker, I brought him up that I liked him against the Lakers. He got 36 fantasy points, so hopefully some of you guys played him there. But with Ariza in the rotation, I just think he kind of gets limited. I don't think he's going to see enough minutes. So I don't think I could do Sam Decker. And then as far as these really cheap small forwards, let's see. Trey Lyles, if Hernan Gomez. We got Hernan Gomez is questionable. If Hernan Gomez is out, that's a lot of minutes to go around. So I think Trey Lyles would definitely be a good value play at 4.2K. The last thing I'll bring up is Damari Carroll. So maybe he might get a few extra minutes to try and guard LeBron. You never know. 3.8K, pretty cheap. So I think you could take a shot on him if you wanted to. Let's move on to power forward. And I really, really like John Collins today at 7.9K. This guy has been playing out of his mind. The match against Washington, so good. Just like a week ago against Washington, 32 minutes, got your 45 fantasy points. So John Collins, this is just the up-tempo game for him. Should pick up a lot of blocks, a few steals. So I think John Collins certainly in play here at 7.9K. Then we got my boy Domantas Sabonis. So the way that target Cleveland is against the center, Tristan Thompson's out of there, so they're gonna have they might start chanting Fry or like an undersized Larry Nance. So Miles Turner, Domantas Sabonis would be the two guys from this game that I really would consider. I think Sabonis, if you're playing cash, I don't think you can do it, but I'm doing GPPs. We've seen this guy has 50 fantasy point upside whenever he takes the floor. I'm sure, in 21 minutes, he got 36 fantasy points. The concern is with him is the minutes. He could get limited, but he has as much upside as anyone. So I'm definitely considering Sabonis today for GPPs. And then Larry Nance, he kind of got limited a little bit against Philly, but they had Embiid. They needed a bigger body like Zizic out there to guard Embiid. I think Larry Nance would play some more minutes in this matchup, so I would consider Larry Nance at 6K. Let's see. So Dedmon, he had that huge 51 fantasy point game against Brooklyn. I love playing Dwayne Dedmon at 4.3K. I brought him up a lot, but he's priced up to 5.6. He definitely shows upside. Washington, one of the worst for rebounding teams in the league, but I think I would rather pay the extra $2,000 or so for John Collins than Dwayne Dedmon. But if you want to take the savings, I don't mind Dwayne Dedmon. I know he's priced up, but the matchup is very good here against the Wizards. Mason Plumlee seems priced about right here, 5.4K. Maybe you'll see a few extra minutes if Hernan Gomez is out of there. Then Markieff. So this guy continues to burn me every time I play him. When I fade him, he does good. When I play him, he does bad. He gets in foul trouble a lot too, but this is another enticing matchup where I might get suckered into Markieff Morris again. 5.1K is pretty cheap for this guy, so I'm considering Markieff. I don't think you can do it in cash, but I'm doing GPPs only, so I'm considering Markieff Morris today. Again, Jeff Green or Markieff. I don't think Jeff Green picks up the start. I think Markieff just has more upside than Jeff Green, so I think I would lean towards Markieff. If you're playing cash games, definitely a Jeff Green though. So, I don't even know how to pronounce this guy's names. Rodninos Krukos? I don't know how to pronounce his name. But he got inserted in the starting lineup for Allen Crabbe and played 30 and 28 minutes the last couple games. He's been pretty productive here too. So, 4K, he seems a little underpriced right now for his role. So I definitely think he is viable today. Let's see. And then Thomas Bryant. Atlanta kind of plays pretty big with Dedmon. Alex Len plays a few minutes, and they got John Collins. So maybe Thomas Bryant gets extended a little longer. We saw against the Lakers he played 28 minutes, so I think he's doable at 3.7K. All right, let's move on to center. So Jokic, I really like Jokic today against Dallas. It's just with Gary Harris and Millsap out of there, they start a bigger front court. They either start Plumlee or Lyles, and Jokic is basically locked into good minutes. The issue with him was he just, earlier when everyone was healthy, he just kind of got limited to 25 to 30 minutes but now he's playing basically 35 minutes every game, and there's a lot of guys out of there in the starting lineup. So Jokic, I really like today at 9.7. So Miles Turner, Sabonis again. These would be the two guys I would play from this game. Miles Turner, I think cash games is probably a little safer. But I think in tournaments, I think I prefer Sabonis just because I think he's going to be way lower owned. So DeAndre Jordan, just a guy I never play. Sure, Denver plays big, so he might play a few extra minutes. He's basically just going to get you there with like 8 points, 23 rebounds. I don't like playing a guy that has no offensive game. So I just don't like playing DeAndre Jordan. So Rondé Hollis-Jefferson, again, these Nets, it's just frustrating. 32, 22, 32, 23 minutes. His minutes are up and down, but he has upside. He has big upside, and this matchup is ideal against the Lakers. So I don't know if you can do it in cash games, but GPPs, I'm considering RHJ for sure. Jarrett Allen, 5.5. It's just his minutes are kind of, they're just fluky, so I don't know if I can do Jarrett Allen. Let's see, McGee. So McGee's questionable. If he ends up getting ruled out, you could give a look to Tyson Chandler. But for GPPs, I think if McGee's out, I might look to Mo Wagner as a pivot. I know the game kind of blew out. He played 17 minutes, but he checked in early. It was late in the first quarter, early in the second quarter, and he got some runs. So I think if McGee's out of there, the plan is to give Mo Wagner some pretty decent minutes. So like Tyson Chandler, probably your safer cash game play, but I never feel good about playing Tyson Chandler. So McGee, so if he ends up playing, I think JaVale McGee is a pretty good play here against the Nets. I do like targeting centers against Brooklyn. McGee, the minutes, a little up and down, but if he's playing well, they might push him to 25 or 30 minutes. So McGee plays. I think he's definitely doable at 4.7K. And yeah, I think that's it. So I think that's going to do it for today's video, guys. Again, it's a small slate. I'm not going to give my core today because I'm just going more for a GPP type lineup. But again, my thoughts, if you're playing cash games, I think you kind of want to lock in LeBron and then really target this Washington-Atlanta game and the Lakers and Brooklyn and kind of go from there. So yeah, that's my thoughts. So yeah, I hope you guys have been enjoying the content. If you have, please like this video, subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. If you have any questions, you can leave it in the comment section down below. It's also important to follow me on Twitter. As more news comes out throughout the day, I will be giving my thoughts. So really important to follow me on Twitter. And I know we got a pretty big slate for tomorrow. So I will be right back here again tomorrow for another video. So I will see you guys then.